Welcome in, everybody, once again. The moment is nigh, Jake. The moment for playoff football in Nashville is like a day away. It's tomorrow. We're getting this video out late-ish. But it doesn't matter. Our nerves and anticipation is all in the air here. How are you doing, Jake? How have you been handling yourself this week? Have you been able to get anything accomplished in your personal life, despite this huge game that everyone has in the back of their minds right now for the Tennessee Titans team?
Justin, up here in Southwest Ohio, I will say I'm fighting for my damn life up here. It's Bengals fan mania. I talked about it last week. You can feel everybody holding their breath. Now that they've gone out and won that playoff game, the party is on. And let me tell you something, Justin. These Bengals fans think the Titans are going to roll right over. The Bengals fans think that they are going to handle the Titans assuredly. And, they wanted them. They wanted them. We talked about this weeks ago, how Bengals fans want the Titans. That's the best matchup possible. We beat you last year by a bunch, and we'll beat you this year by a bunch. That's just kind of a little taste of what I've been dealing with this week. So other than fighting and fending for my Titans fandom life, it's been pretty good. And, dude, it's been the longest week in a while waiting for a Titans football game.
Yes, it's been the 2 weeks because we have enjoyed that bye week. It's interesting. Yeah, seeing, I don't know how big of a sample size we're seeing with some of the Bengals fans, even online on Twitter and everything. They seem pretty confident going into this game.
Very confident.
Look, everyone here is beatable. The Titans are not the worst number one seed in the AFC ever. That's ridiculous. But we're definitely beatable, and teams shouldn't be scared to play us, but we're definitely a sound, solid team who just got healthier. The most healthy we've been all year, and we're going to be a tough out in this game, Jake. I truly believe it. But still, congrats to the Bengals and their fans. They're just good. They're feeling themselves, Jake. They got their first playoff win in a lot of their lifetime.
I understand. I do understand the hype, but man, when it comes, at the expense of your Tennessee Titans, it can get to fisticuffs pretty fast.
It's like, don't be selling up my team short here. We're going to come ready to fight here. Certainly a lot to get into in that game, Jake. But here's what we're going to do. We wanted to just go ahead and combine our weekly picks video with our Bengals playoff matchup preview video. So it's all going to be one video here, and we're going to just make our picks for the other three playoff games. And then as we pick the Titans versus Bengals, we're going to get into more detail and previewing that matchup here, Jake. So does that sound good? And are you ready to roll with this one?
That sounds great. I, much like the King, am ready to roll, Justin. And if you don't care about any of the other three matchups, you can skip right ahead to whenever we're looking jovial and flailing our arms talking about the Titans.
This means we've gotten to the Titans game. So just look through. I'm not about to put in timestamps. Too much work here.
Yep.
Titans.
Yep. Got to get pre-gaming for tomorrow.
Yes. So that game kicks off at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon Central Time, which is the first playoff game of this weekend. So let's move ahead to the night game on Saturday. We have the San Francisco 49ers, the only team to score an upset in terms of seeding goes. I know a lot of people did pick the Niners, but they do have to travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. 7:15 at night. It's going to be chilly, cold. These teams did meet, though, Jake, early on in the regular season, and it took some Aaron Rodgers magic, like a 30-second drive. He needed like 40 or so yards or something to set up a game-winning field goal for Mason Crosby, and of course he got it done. So this could be an interesting matchup here, Jake. Aaron Rodgers, the pressure's kind of on for Green Bay to get this thing done. They've gone 13-3 for the past few years and have fallen in the NFC Championship the past 2 years. They need to avoid another upset. They need to at least make a Super Bowl because this is kind of hanging over Rodgers' head now. He can't get back to his second Super Bowl after a decade, winning his first one in 2010. Can he get it done? Tough test here against the 49ers.
So we always talk about these other games in reference to the Tennessee Titans. And, when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, I watched a little bit of that Cowboys game, but I watched the later half because it ended up getting a little bit competitive towards the end. Yeah. So I based my 49ers analysis and assumptions around that Thursday night game they played in Nashville. And they weren't that impressive to me, Justin. I said this last week. So, Jimmy G, he's got a hurt finger. The football is going to be hard as a rock up there in Green Bay. You got to worry about his ball security, his accuracy throwing with that injured hand. But is Green Bay going to get it done? Like you said, that's the question. I think that they do, Justin. I think they take care of the 49ers team. But however, there is a lot of history between San Francisco and Green Bay in the 21st century, especially in that divisional round. You think back to shades of Colin Kaepernick running for 4,000 yards on the Packers in that single game. So it's going to be an interesting watch, and we'll see if the Packers can get that San Francisco monkey off of their back. So we'll see. We'll see if they can. I think the Packers do. I got them to shake off the Niners curse and get a W here.
Yeah, I like it. I like the pick. They have the first round bye, much like the Titans, and it's going to benefit them. They're getting their star left tackle back. I think their top cornerback, Jair Alexander, is going to be back, which is going to be huge for them to help contain Deebo Samuel there. I'm going to make it a little shorter than yours, Jake. I think it's time. I'm feeling Green Bay. I mean, San Francisco, very solid team. I thought, they had an impressive showing against the Cowboys, and then they kind of, slowed down. The game kind of caught back up to them, or the Cowboys caught back up to them. What a weird ending that game was. The Niners beat them like 3 different times, but a penalty here, and then a review, and then a this and that, and then what do you know? The Dak takes the 14-second QB sneak to run out the clock. But anyway, I am impressed a bit. I'm maybe a little more impressed than you have been with the 49ers team, and I think we've said it before. They'll go as far as Jimmy G. Will take them, and he threw a Jimmy G pick late in that game that helped the Cowboys get back into it. So you thought it was going to happen again. But as long as he takes care of the ball, I think the 49ers are going to be very much in this game. But I do think, and I will pick the Green Bay Packers to get it done here to host, again, an NFC Championship game. So, we both got the Packers here. I think it's a thing. I think it's time. I think eventually, spoilers for after next week, if they do win this game, I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl. It's going to be stiff competition. Both the Bucs and Rams are very good NFC teams as well. So let's go ahead and get into that one. Sunday, there are 2 games, 2 p.m. kickoff Central Time, odd start times here. We got the Rams at Bucs. I think this is going to be a bad matchup for Tampa Bay because of their defense, Jake, or because of the Rams defense. I mean, they've got Jalen Ramsey in a pretty solid secondary, but that front 7, that front 4 especially, to get after Tom Brady. And a lot has been made about, I think it's the Tampa Bay right tackle, Tristan Wirf. I think I'd heard of him at some point, but apparently he's like one of the best, if not the best, right tackle in the game. And from what some sports analysts are saying, I mean, this guy's a Hall of Famer. I mean, they just keep saying like what a big loss this guy is going to be for protecting Tom Brady. And you saw some of that against Philadelphia. I guess Tom Brady got sacked a few times as soon as he got injured and went out of that game. I don't know if they've officially declared him out for this, if they have declared him out for this matchup. But man, Aaron Donald, Von Miller looking good. That is a vaunted front 4, and that's the recipe to beat Tom Brady, Jake. Getting pressure up the middle. And they did handle the Bucs earlier in this season. And that offense is kind of coming together. Odell Beckham Jr. finding his rhythm in that offense. I think they're going to go into Tampa Bay's house, Jake, and I think they're going to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. I am picking the LA Rams to win this game, Jake. How do you like that?
I like that, Justin, but I'm also not going to like that, and I'm going to pick against it because there's just one simple rule regarding playoff games with Tom Brady, and it's that you don't pick against him. So that's going to be my entire argument. Greatest of all time is still back there slinging it at the tender age of 43. I could see him playing in yet another conference title game up in Green Bay. I could see them running that back. So I have the Buccaneers here, but my heart and my mind say the Rams, but like history and all the statistics and everything regarding the Tom Brady aura is telling me, no, let's take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to to bet against Tom Brady. But dude, I'm looking at it like Jalen Ramsey can match up against Mike Evans, and then where are you going to go with the ball if he's able to shut down Mike Evans? Because no Antonio Brown or Chris Godwin.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough, but Tom Brady's going to start throwing touchdowns to people we've never heard of before, and still find a way to go to the NFC Championship game. Probably win, probably going to his 18th Super Bowl and win. We'll switch, that's going to be all she wrote. But we'll see. So we're going different here. You got Bucks, I got Rams. And Jake, depending on who you've been following or seeing on Twitter, this is the real Super Bowl, or perhaps the real AFC game. The Buffalo Bills at Kansas City on Sunday night. Disrespectful guys. Titans beat both of these teams, but hey, they look pretty dang good in their wild card matchups here. So this is definitely going to be an intriguing game to watch. Buffalo did beat Kansas City earlier this season, but got to go back to Arrowhead. Tough environment. These offenses are flying high right now, Jake. I don't really know. Disrespect aside, this being the real AFC Championship game, this is going to be a very compelling game to watch. And hopefully, as a Titans fan, if we can get it done on Saturday, these teams will beat the crap out of each other and then limp into the AFC Championship game to have to go against us. So what do you see? What do you like in this game here?
Justin, it is definitely a tough decision for this game, man. I've gone back and forth. I spent half of the week thinking this game was being played in Buffalo. So to find out it was at Arrowhead like yesterday, I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. I think that it's going to be a big weekend for the Titans included. I'm going to save my rah-rah speech for towards the end, but it's going to be a big weekend for teams who aren't traditional powers in the NFL, Justin. And I'm looking at you, Buffalo, and Kansas City. I know maybe not a traditional power, but storied history, and they've been good for a long stretch here. So I'm counting it. So you're going to see if there's going to be a true changing of the guard this weekend. Who's going to come out of this AFC? And if the Bills don't do it now, I don't know if they'll ever do it, Justin. I have a similar sentiment about the Titans, but we'll save that again for the end of the show. But if the Bills don't do it now, I don't think they ever will. And this Chiefs team is very beatable. It took them, almost 2 quarters to wake up against Pittsburgh last week. And then obviously they woke up in a big way. Stadium ran out of fireworks. Classic Chiefs move there. So I don't quite know what to think, especially with Buffalo laying the wood in New England. I did not expect them to come alive quite like that. It's going to be a gritty, maybe high-flying game, Justin, and I think I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's more in my heart telling me that. Like, I would rather see the Bills win than the Chiefs, but it's a toss-up. It's truly a coin flip.
Yeah. And I mean, if, as a Titans fan, if we do win against Cincinnati, would you rather play the Bills or the Chiefs to come into Nissan Stadium? I think I would rather play the Chiefs, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah,
the Bills are just looking more balanced in everything that they do. And I know, the Chiefs can put up points at the drop of the hat. It's ridiculous. Like what they did against the Texans in the playoffs a few years ago was just mind-numbingly maddening. Going down 24-0, and then they end up blowing them out, dropped 50 points on them. Just ridiculous stuff, dude. Yeah. And we kind of saw that against Pittsburgh, just how quickly they can just throw points on the board like it's nothing. But the Bills have a legit defense. Dude, I am with you. I'm going to take the Bills as well to go on the road and take down the Chiefs. I just think this is their time. Not going the whole way, of course, because hopefully they have to come through Nashville and the bus will stop there for them. But this team they really do look Super Bowl ready. There's not a whole lot of flaws I'm seeing in this Buffalo Bills team. Yes, they hit a lull. Yes, they lost to the Jacksonville Jags earlier this year, which was crazy. But every team dropped a bad game at some point, it feels like.
Yep.
But I'm with you. I think the Bills, I just think that they're ready, and it's their time to get it done and go back to the AFC Championship game. So I'm going to take them here as well to take down the Chiefs. And maybe this is kind of a changing of the guard in the AFC with Tennessee and the Bills, the Buffalo Bills being the top 2 AFC teams. Chiefs are still going to be there for a while as long as they got Mahomes. But But we'll see. We'll see. It should be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. Unless the Titans lose, I'm probably going to avoid watching football.
Yeah.
Maybe
shut it down for the year.
I'm going to be impressed. Yeah. But if the Titans win, I will very much be glued to the television screen on that one. But all right. So we only picked opposite on Tampa Bay and the Rams game. Both got the Packers, both got the Bills, and we better both have the Titans, Jake. But we can go on ahead and get into
We're doing the arm flailing for people who are scrubbing
the time has
through.
come.
Let's get into this matchup, Justin. I can't wait.
The time has come. Man, so much getting into to get into here. First of all, this is the only playoff matchup featuring two teams who did not meet in the regular season. But Jake, what we have tape of these Bengals going against the Titans last year. Oh, in a game where they pretty well handled us. Joe Burrow was slinging it around and breaking tackles and breaking sacks. I still have nightmares. I think it was Jadeveon Clowney who had like a clear open shot on Joe Burrow, and he just like spun away like it was nothing, and then completed probably a 3rd and 20 pass because that's what our defense loved doing last year. But dude, this is a completely different defensive unit. Last year was last year, and I'm almost glad now that we had that game last year, because we can add that kind of as a chip on our shoulders and like we are not overlooking this team. We know what this quarterback did to us last year. So maybe in the long run that could benefit us, and this team is to be reckoned with and should be taken seriously. But man, on the other side, the big news is the great return of King Henry. We are getting healthy. We are rested. Mike Vrabel, we're getting jinxed at some point with all these stats about Mike Vrabel 8-0 when he has more than 8 days to prepare for a team. And they're just like, oh man, I'm feeling them. They're begging for that one to come in for the Titans to drop this game and for Vrabel to end that streak. But anyway, Jake, what are some initial takeaways you have? What are you looking at here? What's going to take for the Titans to get the W here?
Yeah, Justin. And there's a couple big obvious pointers and headlines when it comes to people talking about this game all week long. Obviously, Joe Burrow and his complement and suite of weapons and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Uzama at tight end, Joe Mixon even out of the backfield. They're no joke on offense, and we know this. The only kind of Achilles heel that they have on that side of the ball is their offensive line. So it's all going to be about the Titans generating pass rush with their front four, which has been good all year long. Like you said, it's a very different Titans team than the one that lost in Paul Brown Stadium last October, Justin. Another thing, more so on the Titans side of the ball, they're going to have all 22 offensive and defensive starters for the first time this year, Justin. The first time this year, they're going to trot out all 22 guys that they would like to have on the field. So does that bode well? Does it not? We've seen them kind of put it together when the stars are there, and we've seen them flounder when you think week one when all the stars were there. So definitely would rather have all 22 starters out there than have a couple of injuries here or there. So Titans looking really, really healthy coming into this matchup. And you said the Vrabel headline after extra rest, man. But I don't think that one is coming this weekend. So, spoiler. So like I said, Jackrabbit Jenkins and Christian Fulton are going to have their biggest test of maybe the entire year. And you kind of throw regular season out of the window now that the playoffs are here and it's single elimination, win or go home kind of deal. So Jackrabbit being healthy, being out there playing what we've seen him to be able to do, which is play solid corner even in his older age. And then you have the young gun, Christian Fulton, who almost assuredly is going to be on Jamar Chase for a lot of this football game. I don't think you would put old man Jenkins on the young, spry Jamar Chase, but we'll see. We'll see how that matchup happens. And something I'm really excited to watch, Justin, especially when it comes to this Bengals passing attack, is Elijah Molden's maturity test. It's going to be a big, big test for him this weekend. He'll probably be matching up with Tyler Boyd a lot in the slot, who is a very, very capable weapon for this Bengals offense. So Elijah Molden's going to get his first taste of playoff action, and he's going to have to perform in this spotlight, Justin.
Yep.
And been rambling on, and I haven't even talked about Joe Mixon, because the Bengals running game isn't really a huge facet of what they do and what their identity is. But Joe Mixon, a very capable back. We've seen him have huge games, and especially the Titans being susceptible to screen passes throughout this year. I feel like we've seen a kind of a recurring theme of screen passes not really being defended well by this Titans defense. Joe Mixon could tear us up through the air or on the ground if the opportunity presents itself, Justin. So What is your confidence level in this Titans defense to try and keep all of Joe Burrow's weapons at bay? And do you think that we can pressure him enough with the front four like we have throughout the season? Do you think we can pressure him enough to kind of knock him off base, knock him off rhythm a little bit? Because he seems locked in and they are red hot.
Yeah, that is exactly what my key to this game is, Jake, is these front four are our great four, the elite four, Landry, Simmons, Autry, Dupree. I know I'm a Titans fan. I don't forget things. They are going to have to, in my opinion, they're going to be the biggest factor, I think, for this entire game. I think if those four can get pressured, they dominate, they can take over this game and just relieve a lot of pressure from the offense and the rest of the defensive part of the unit. Because if we're able to do that, we can drop the other 7 guys in coverage to help cover all of the plethora of weapons that Joe Burrow has. And he will absolutely dice up this defense. As good as it's been, he will dice this defense up if these front 4 guys cannot get consistent pressure on him throughout the game, along with shutting down Joe Mixon in the run game. Going to be huge to make them a one-dimensional offense. Titans rush defense gave up second fewest yards allowed per game on the ground. So you kind of like that heading into this game. But, playoffs, who knows? It's always a different animal here when you get to the postseason. But that's it. I mean, we've got to have pressure from these 4 guys, and that's going to be the most important aspect to this game as well. And the next factor for the Bengals, I think, you mentioned him, but you forget about Uzama. I forget his first name. CJ.
I think it's CJ Uzama. Yeah.
This guy could. I mean, you can forget about him, and he is a dangerous weapon at the tight end position. I know we have people like to call Dane Cruikshank the tight end killer, because he's had some success defending Travis Kelce, and I think George Kittle. He didn't do too much against us in the 49ers game. So if that's the plan, putting Dane Cruikshank on him, then great. But this guy can, Joe Burrow could be throwing passes to all 3 of the trio of wide receivers, and then boom, here's Uzama up the middle, wide open. You forget about him. So that's a player that I'm going to be watching on the Cincinnati Bengals team. But it's going to come down to this front 4, Jake, and especially not giving up the big play. We cannot allow a Jamar Chase 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown that he's been so prone to do this year. And the Titans defense was giving up a lot of big plays early on in the season. You think back to the Seattle Seahawks game, busted coverages. We've seemed to have righted the ship in regards to that. But yeah, the big plays have to be at a minimum. We got to make them work for it. And we got to make them, if they're going to score, it's going to be long drives. Yes, that might wear out this defense. And, you don't want these front 4 guys to be gassed by the fourth quarter. But no big plays. This is such a huge game to get consistent pressure on Joe Burrow. And that's how he diced us up in the matchup last year, because our pass rush stunk. And now it's one of the best in the league. So yeah, that's the key, Jake. And I think we can get it done. Like you said, their offensive line is kind of questionable. But then last year, you remember last year when I think they started 4 backups, and we still couldn't get a pass rush on them. So, I mean, Bud Dupree and Danico Autry are now here, and they're different animals than what we had rushing alongside Simmons and Landry. But man, it's going to be huge for these guys to get a consistent pass rush, and I think they can do it. My confidence level, I just remembered, I'll give an 8 out of 10 on the confidence level. We'll be able to get pressure on Joe Burrow. I'm pretty confident. The boys are good. We're the only team in the league that has 3 different players with 8+ sacks. So it's like, pick your poison. Who are you going to double? Who are you going to try to block here? And one of the guys is going to get free. And hopefully we make life a living hell for the old Joe Burrow. Mr. Macaulay
like
Culkin himself.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that thinks he looks like him? He kind of, it just hit
a
me
little bit.
the other day.
A little bit.
Home Alone guy. Yeah. That's right.
I was a big fan of the first two films. So, Justin, much ado about this Bengals offense, of course, but what about this Bengals defense? So you kind of throw away regular season statistics at this point, like we've mentioned, even though we've brought up several. But you look to last week as a sample size for this Cincinnati Bengals rushing defense, which is going to be a big factor in this game with who returning. So the Bengals defense last week allowed 103 yards on just 14 carries, Justin. When you do the math and you carry the one, that is 7.4 yards per carry in that football game against the Raiders. That is not what you want to see as a Bengals fan going into a matchup where Derrick Henry's coming back. Deontay Foreman's been running like a madman, and Hilliard's been prone to hit the hole pretty hard too. So it's something that the Titans have to take advantage of. The best way to stop Joe Burrow and the weapons on offense is make sure they don't see the damn field for most of the game. And that is exactly the recipe that the Titans love to use in all of these games. So hopefully that is a weakness that the Titans offense can exploit, take advantage of, So I think that if we stick to our identity, don't make Ryan Tannehill throw the ball 30, 40 times. We need to stick to our guns. And that kind of bleeds into, Justin, what can we expect to see from Derrick Henry? You personally, what do you expect Derrick Henry's workload to look like? What do you expect him to look like? And do you think he kind of returns to form right away, or do you think it takes, a series or two, or maybe even a whole game to get back?
All right. Well, first of all, I was wrong about Henry in the last game against Houston. I thought he was going to play. I thought he was ready. I think there was already some practice videos out. I thought he was going to get his feet wet a little bit. I was foolish to do so, but I'm still not backing down on my optimism, Jake. I think I don't know if it's Titans fans or Bengals fans that I've been reading. I can't remember, maybe a little bit of both, but I've been seeing some like, oh, Henry, it's going to be a light workload, or he's going to split carries. He's not going to be the Derrick Henry, carrying the ball 30 times a game that it was earlier in the season. Mm-hmm. Dude, maybe I think that is BS, dude. I am kind of expecting Henry to come in here and start, and we are going to feed the crap out of him. And I think he's going to look really, really good. I think people say, a bye week can, get a team healthier, and they can get a little more juice in their first playoff game, which is, the second round after their off week. But for a guy like Derrick Henry to miss 8, 9, 10 weeks of the season, that's a different thing to come back from, to get used to game speed. So it's going to be different. But I just disagree, Jake. Derrick Henry has played football since he was 5 freaking years old. He's a workout beast. Unless the foot isn't all the way back for whatever reason, I don't really expect to see any shortage of burst. I think he's going to be close, if not at 100%, and maybe even better because of all this time off. I mean, how much has he been able to work out during his recovery? Probably hasn't been able to do a lot of leg lifts, leg presses because of that foot. But dude, I am expecting this to be a feed the crap out of Derrick Henry game, because the Titans, maybe they may share some. It would be dumb to just not give Foreman the ball at all. So there will be some shared carries there, but I think Derrick Henry's going to lead the charge. The Titans cannot get away from what they've been doing. They didn't get away from the offense when Derrick Henry went out. Foreman stepped in. Offense didn't really change much at all. And I think we're not going to see that much of a change in this offense. So, I mean, am I just being too biased? Tell me to calm down. I would be surprised unless we get down big early, I'd be surprised if Derrick Henry doesn't get 20 carries this game, to be honest. I have high hopes. And I'm pretty sure Henry's going to get the ball a lot, and he's going to look good doing it.
Justin, I love your optimism going into this game for Derrick Henry. I think a more, let's say, realistic, not to knock your optimism, but maybe a more realistic target carries number is like somewhere between 18 and 23, 4 carries. 18 and 24 carries, I think, is where he's going to fall into.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
at
mean,
20 minimum.
yeah, okay, yeah, rather than 24 maximum. So and you're right. It would be foolish not to sub out Derrick Henry and bring in Foreman when Henry needs it. We don't have to have him in the ball game constantly like we thought we did when he went out. So Foreman obviously I think is going to get 8 to 10, maybe 12 touches depending on how the game goes. I think the number really depends on the dynamic of the game, like you said. But I think Derrick Henry, like you said, he's just a freak of nature, man. He's truly built different, and I expect him to be back just based off of what we've seen in practice. I know talking about practice. But I'm talking about a game now on Saturday. I think we will see Derrick Henry return to form. Maybe not the 80-yard explosive run. If that happened, Nissan Stadium might crumble due to the noise and hype levels.
Yes.
Could you imagine a first play from scrimmage, Derrick Henry 80-yard score? That would be unbelievable. But I will hold that kind of optimism for actually watching the game.
You just gave me chills. That would be the best thing I could ever imagine.
It would be absolutely incredible. So I expect Derrick Henry to be back and be a big factor in this football game, but maybe not that MVP level runner getting 30 carries in this game. And like we said, like the dynamic of the game definitely matters, because if the Titans go up big, Derrick Henry's sitting on the freaking pine, man. Yeah. He's not going to be in the game. We've
talked a lot about Derrick Henry, Jake, but why don't we can talk about this like trio now that we suddenly have together with AJ Brown and Julio. What are your kind of expectations for maybe this passing game in regards to Julio contributing more? We saw him finally get in the end zone against Houston last regular season game. So finally he picked up some production right as the playoffs were starting. How do you feel about their roles going into this game when, like you said, the Cincinnati run defense was very suspect against the Raiders? So maybe the formula is just to keep pounding the ball and not have to worry about taking the top off the defense with Brown or Julio. So I don't know. What are you kind of expecting from this passing game here?
So I think that a lot of people have read into the statistics of this Titans team. And, the numbers nerds will tell you they're the worst number 1 seed in forever, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the subtraction of Derrick Henry versus the subtraction of A.J. Brown from this offense, you would almost argue that A.J. Brown is more important to the overall success of this Titans offense than Derrick Henry, which is bonkers to say. And that is only a stat nerd could come up with that line, because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. But AJ Brown is so vitally important to this offense, and he creates for Derrick Henry. He creates for Julio Jones, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Anthony Ferkser, all those guys, because the defense, while Julio Jones has the name recognition, he's not getting the double team. AJ Brown is. So Julio's going to have to take advantage of those things. And so when it comes to production from those two, Justin, I was thinking about this earlier, and I thought about making it the key to a game, but it's a little surface level. So it's not do or die now. It's not if Julio doesn't catch a touchdown, the Titans lose. But if Julio Jones scores a touchdown in this football game, the Titans will win the ball game. It doesn't go both ways, where if he doesn't catch one, they lose. But I think if Julio finds the end zone, it means the Titans offense has found success in their scheme and what they're doing. So I think if you see him turn a corner, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I wanted to give your take on that. And Derrick Henry coming back to, just his presence on the field will be more impactful. Play action, even if he's not getting a lot of production on his carries, the play action is going to work with Derrick Henry on the field more so than Hilliard or Foreman, and that could open things up for the passing game as well. But all right, we'll see. We'll see what if playoff Julio shows up for the Titans. Dude, we're going to the Super Bowl. That's there's no question.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If Julio Jones is having success, the Titans will be having success. There's a lot of moving factors, obviously, but I think that could be a correlation. in this playoff run if it does ignite and spark the Titans forward. Justin, do you have a key to the game and a prediction, sir?
I do. I guess two-parter. I already talked about my part one. This front four on defense. It's going to be key for them to just be the beasts that you are and take over this game and never let this dangerous Cincinnati offense find its rhythm. If we can do that, I trust our defense to limit the points that Cincinnati can put up, and it's going to be more difficult for them to make that big play, take a big shot to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and all their weapons there. So that's my key on defense. On offense, you mentioned this earlier, but I think we got to play the best way to stop Cincinnati's offense is, like you said, keeping them on the sidelines. We need to play. I would like to see us play a lot of ball control offense, a lot of boring offense, maybe. I don't like putting it that way, but just an offense that'll kind of lull you to sleep and just slowly pound you away until your soul has been sucked out and you lose all life and motivation. It's like, man, we're getting, you give up 3, 4, well, I'll say 5, 6, 7-yard runs just several times over the course of a single drive. That just that takes your soul out. And I think if we can do that, sustain, 5, 6, 7-minute drives and converting them into touchdowns, that's that's just, again, going to keep the Cincinnati team just out of rhythm and not in sync. And if those two factors, happen for the Titans, I think we clearly will be the victors in this game. Of course, don't turn the ball over. That goes without saying. That's the Achilles heel of this Titans team is look at any Titans loss and then just look at the turnover differential. And I guarantee you we're probably -3, if not worse, in all those losses. And if you'd like to score prediction, give me the Titans winning this football game. I'll say, I'll say 30-24. 30-24 final.
I like
so
that,
we will
Justin.
give up some points. I don't want to be like, 24-13. Like, I'd like to give a little more credit to how, Cincinnati offense plays football and can put points on the board. But that's what I'm seeing here, Jake. What are your keys and predictions?
I like it. And obviously your key is great, Justin. Pressure Joe Burrow, keep their offense off of the field when you can. Convert those drives into touchdowns. Love that. That was going to be my top one is when you get to the red zone, you need to score a touchdown. You can't mess around with these Randy Bullock field goals anymore. One, I have to hold my breath every time he enters the playing surface. But then two, you're not going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals team with field goals. Case in point, the Las Vegas Raiders just a week ago, Justin. You saw them. If they can convert one more touchdown, they're kicking a game-tying field goal instead of trying to put it in the end zone at the end of the game. They had, I can't remember, they had 19 points, so that's 4 field goals and 1 touchdown. That is not the recipe to beat the Cincinnati Bengals or really anybody. Yep. So when the Titans get there, they need to convert into points. Number 2 on my keys to the game, Justin, don't panic. Don't panic because like you said, the Bengals offense is going to get theirs. Jamar Chase is going to catch passes. Joe Burrow is going to make some good throws, but it's all about bending, not breaking, holding this Bengals red zone offense, which has been suspect, to field goals when they get down there and try and put on the clamps when they do start moving the football. So forcing the Bengals to take 3 and then the Titans converting their touchdown opportunities is my overarching key to the game. And just don't panic in this game. Even if you get down 14-0, Justin, we've seen the Titans in Indianapolis this year come back on a really good football team who had them down 14-0. We know that's not a death sentence for this Tennessee football team, no matter how much people say that it is, because we have to stop running the football and X, Y, and Z. And it's just not true. The Titans can play from behind, despite what the national media might say. Justin, I am going to pick the Titans to win this football game. I have had a brutal week of super confident, super unconfident, super confident, super unconfident. And now I've kind of evened out, and I'm feeling mellow, and I'm feeling good. The Titans are the number 1 seed for a reason. You know why? Because they're a damn good football team, Justin, and they're healthy as they've been all season long. And it's it's time. Okay, it's time. And
yes.
So here's my rah-rah speech, and it's going to be, H1 header one. Why this game means more to the Titans franchise than it does for Cincinnati and their fans as a whole. Okay, so the Bengals had Joe Burrow. We'll start with Cincinnati. The Bengals have already won their Super Bowl playing in that playoff game last week. They've played in the high intensity, emotional game in front of their home crowd, huge spectacle. Trust me, I live about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati, and you could just feel the energy radiating out with Bengals fans. So it's just they've accomplished their job is what I was trying to say. They've accomplished what their hill that they had to climb. When you look at this Tennessee Titans squad, Justin, one, they don't get any national respect. And I was listening to Mike Keith talk about it, and it was like, what does this Titans team have to do? They got the number one seed. They played 90 plus players on their squad this year and still got the number one seed. What is going to get them their respect? He's like, they're going to have to win the Super Bowl. And even then they'll be the worst Super Bowl champion to ever do it. Put them up against Super Bowl 50 Broncos, Peyton Manning's ride in the sunset. They could duke it out for an hour. But Titans, this Justin team, but
I love that team. Team Justin.
So why this game means more to the Titans, Justin? One, they'll never get the respect unless they make a run to the Super Bowl. Two, making a run to the Super Bowl. This is the best opportunity the Titans will have in Derrick Henry's career. Maybe this is their best opportunity since they moved to Nashville, since the 1 yard short Super Bowl. This is maybe the best chance that they've had to go to the Super Bowl and win the damn thing. You have Vrabel coaching. You have the 3-year contending window that we've talked about, Justin. I don't think you're going to get back to the number one seed. You're not going to have a path that includes 2 games to get to the playoffs, or to the Super Bowl. And I just think that now is the time. Now is the time. And I think Mike Vrabel knows it. I think the team knows it. And they have every resource available to them to go out, prove their worth as an NFL franchise, stop being the fucking doormat that they've been talked about all week long. How does a 4 seed have so many experts and analysts picking them over a 1 seed? I've never seen it in my NFL watching life, Justin. I'm distraught at how many people think this Titans team is just a pushover, and they're clearly not. They're battle tested. They have been wounded all year long, and they've come back all the way to get Derrick Henry back. This was the formula all year long. You said it right after his injury. He said the Titans are going to roll. They're going to get the 1 seed. Derrick Henry makes his triumphant return. They go to the Super Bowl. Well, we're here now, Justin. We are here
the timeline
right now. It is now, and it starts with Cincinnati on Sunday. Don't worry about who you're going to get in the AFC Championship game. Just take care of your own business on Sunday or Saturday and beat a team that I think that you're better than. I really, truly think that the Titans are better than the Bengals. They have better coaching. They have more experience come January, and they are just battle-tested as all hell, Justin. I am picking the Titans to win this football game after my furious rant.
I love it.
27-20. Titans get it done again.
Mike Keith coming in. I love that. Dude, yes. Oh man, what a great impassioned speech. You hit the nail on the head. Dude, this is the time. I think this is our best chance to go all the way this year. Just, looking at the roster, as long as Mike Vrabel's the coach, I believe in the Titans to be contenders in the AFC. Sure, we're going to have some rebuilding here and there as far as the roster goes. And it may start as soon as next year. Like what's going to happen with Harold Landry and is Taylor Lewan coming back? I mean, people, he's been dealing with injuries or people think he's starting to get washed. Like, dude, he's still a pretty good left tackle. Who do you want in there? You want to start Kendall Lamb over there? Like, no. This offensive line is getting older. Rodgers, Saffold, Ben Jones really getting up there in age. Not to mention Tannehill is getting into his mid-30s just about. So, with players that we're not going to be able to re-sign and then some other key players that are getting older, I like our chances, at that kind of that outlook. I like our chances this year than the team that we're going to have next year. Will Julio be on the team next year? I don't know. If not, we're going to have to find a wide receiver 2, possibly a wide receiver 3. Love Nick Westbrook-Akina, but this team needs like that real like slot receiver, a real complement to a true number 1 like AJ Brown. So yeah, I think this is one of the best opportunities that we're going to have to go all the way. We're healthy. Yeah, that's not to mention we're healthy. Even if we do have a great team next year, what are the chances we're going to literally have all 22 starters on both sides of the ball available to us?
The bye, after getting the 1 seed,
after
getting the bye. Like I said, now's the time. Now is the time.
The Titans have managed to set themselves up beautifully for a postseason run this year. And dude, how heartbreaking would it be to see this team go one and done after this incredibly memorable season? Kind of the same feelings of last year. Like, yeah, the defense stunk last year, but the Titans still won the AFC South and had a high-flying offense, a 2,000-yard rusher in Henry. Very memorable. But then you just season still just leaves a bad taste in your mouth from the one and done in the playoffs. So Titans cannot lay another goose egg for the second straight year in Nissan Stadium in the playoffs. That's going to suck. I want a discount on my season tickets if that's going to be the case next year. I want to see this team go all the way, and I'm going to be in attendance, Jake. This is the first home playoff game. I didn't go last year to the Ravens one, but I guess before that it would have been the other Ravens home playoff game in 2008 when we got upset. Which was one of the worst experiences of my entire life. So it's been a long time coming for me personally to be in attendance for a game, but I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be so nervous and hyped and everything. So the time is now, Jake. Look at me. Now I'm just reiterating your impassioned speech. You got me impassioned. You got me fired up. Dude, this team, I got to see it. I want to see them put it together for just give me one. Just give me one Super Bowl. I want to see one in my lifetime. And then I can rest peacefully. So, man, yeah, I love it, dude. It starts this weekend. Can't overlook these Bengals, dude. Still a dangerous team. But man, I can't wait. It just feels right. It feels right. So let's not come back here on Monday, Jake, with sad tears in our eyes.
Yes,
we're gonna
definitely will have sad tears.
We're just. We're just really excited right now, and I really hope it doesn't come crashing down. And I like what you said about the Bengals. You know, this was they climbed the mountaintop, not like the entire mountain, but for their franchise. They won the division and got a playoff win, ended that streak. It almost feels similar to when the Titans with Mariota beat the Chiefs that year when we were 9-7. That was like our Super Bowl almost. We had gone a long time. I think it had been since 2003 since we had won a playoff game. And so in the next divisional round, it's interesting. We had to go to New England, got blown out. But dude, in that instance, I was like, dude, it just feels so good to win a playoff game. I don't expect us to win. New England is a beast. I think they were the number 1 seed, which is interesting while I'm seeing some attitude from the Cincinnati fans. Like, we're definitely going to Nashville and getting another one here. Like, I didn't feel like that when the Titans finally ended their streak. I think that this Cincinnati team is better than that 2017 Titans team. But, you know, it's a step-by-step process. We've gone through the years of taking our steps. To Cincinnati, can you hold off for a year, please, until you actually make an AFC Championship game and possibly a Super Bowl? We've seen this team progress every single season. Since Mike Vrabel's been here. So hopefully we can take that next step, man. I'm ready for it. And I just remembered, this is how much of a Titans freak I am. I literally had a dream last night that Julio Jones on a trick play threw a touchdown pass. I don't remember who it was to, but that put up the Titans 7-0. I don't remember what ended up happening, but dude, I'm starting to have dreams about the Titans.
Does anybody have Todd Downing's phone number? Put that in, put that package in.
Yeah, Julio, he's got an arm now. Let's put that in. I'll call up Todd Downing. Yeah, I'll let him know. That's part of the game plan here.
Also, late breaking news in the video: Derrick Henry officially activated.
Woo!
Everybody knew it was coming. We have already talked about Derrick Henry's impact in this game on Saturday, but he is now officially activated for the Tennessee.
Dude, how appropriate! How appropriate. It's like the third or fourth time breaking news has come on while we've been filming a video. I mean, it was expected. It surely was expected. But man, it's good. It's good that it is official. And man, it's just so much to look forward to, starting with the return of the great king, the return of the king. Let the Lord of the Rings memes begin for this playoff run. So, man, all right. I got to slow down. We got to end this video, or I'm just going to keep ranting.
We'll talk about it all evening long, Justin. It's been a long build up to this game. It starts on Saturday, tomorrow. I don't know when this video is going to go up, but it's Saturday, the 22nd day of the first month of the 22nd year of the 22nd century. No, we're in the 21st century. But, there's a lot of 22s involved in this football game. Hopefully the Titans can win by 22 to just cherry on top. Justin, I think it's going to do it for us. Comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and just tighten the fuck up.
Woo-hoo. Coming up hot with that one, Jake. Got the fire. Let's go. This is not a kids show anymore. This is playoff Titans tube here.
Sorry.
Come on.
I'm gonna have to censor a couple times. But tighten up, everybody. Have a great football weekend. Peace out, unless you're a Bengals fan.
Truth. Amen. Tighten up, y'all. Tighten up. Playoff tighten up. Playoffs.